Breaking news, this is coming straight from the top at the White House. President Joe Biden has issued this warning to New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, who no longer has a leg to stand on. Take a listen.
I have a question for you on coronavirus, but first I'd like to start with the news of the day. Given back in March, you said that if the investigation confirmed the allegations against Governor Cuomo, then he should resign. So will you now call on him to resign, given the investigator said the 11 women were credible?
I stand by that statement.
Are you now calling on him to resign?
Yes.
And if he doesn't resign, do you believe he should be impeached and removed from office?
Let's take one thing at a time here. I think he should resign. I understand that
So that's coming straight from the top. President Joe Biden following suit. Top members in Congress of Washington, House Representative and Majority Leader Nancy Pelosi also calling for his resignation, as well as New York Senator Chuck Schumer. And long time ago, Bill de Blasio also called for his resignation. This all coming from the Democratic-led New York Attorney General coming out with her scathing report, finding all 11 credible witnesses of sexual harassment allegations made against the Governor Cuomo. 9 of which were either current or were former state employees. By the way, this is Bruce the Boss. If you're not yet subscribed to my channel, please smash that subscribe button. Fight against YouTube algorithm as well as their censorship, which nuked my previous page or previous channel literally just barely over 4 weeks ago. But I thank everyone who has resubscribed to my channel or found me for the very first time. And again, if you're one of those, go ahead, smash on that subscribe button. Do not let the censorship police or the Ministry of Truth have the final word on what you are and are not allowed to hear. Also, don't forget to like this video. That helps also with the algorithm to get my videos out there and past YouTube's algorithm that is suppressing content, as well as comment on this video. Now, we have to stay consistent. Governor Cuomo deserves his day in court. He deserves to be heard by a jury of his peers on the allegations, the facts that are available, if any of these 11 women decide to come forward. But again, their report has revealed that all 11 allegations are credible, not the same again as being proven beyond a reasonable doubt. Fact. We have to believe facts and evidence. Many people can make up allegations, but they have to be proven in the court of law and judged by a jury of his peers. So I'm not saying guilt or innocent. I'm just saying he no longer has a leg to stand on. This was an individual who was considered to be the polar opposite of Trump during the pandemic, of what a leader should be. He was being propped up. The man even won an Emmy, for goodness sake. For what? For holding daily COVID briefings. Meanwhile, he was messing it all up in his state drastically. Will he resign though? The Cuomos strike me as a very proud group of individuals, at least the 2 lead Cuomos, who refuse to go down without a fight, who refuse to be proven wrong. For example, Fredo, his little brother, also known as Chris Cuomo, despite the fact that he was tested positive for COVID-19 early on in the pandemic, around April of last year, 2020, and he was supposedly quarantining himself in his basement or bottom level of his apartment away from the rest of the family. Days before he made his official coming out of the basement announcement, he was caught in, I believe it was it Long Island? Or no, the Hamptons. He was caught outside at a housing development watching a property I believe he was building or having built, overseeing that development with his wife and kids playing around while talking to developers, and he was caught by a cyclist saying, "Hey, aren't you supposed to be quarantined and locked up?" And then Chris had the nerve to not only clap back, not apologize, saying, "You know what, I was wrong, I'm sorry." Instead, he attacked the cyclist, calling him fat, out of shape, a loser, and doing it on radio as well. And then had the nerve to still come out days later on his show as if he was walking out of his basement for the very first time. Days later. They don't like to admit that they're wrong. They're a very proud bunch. In fact, Andrew Cuomo is a man who, despite the fact that it was proven, keep in mind, this is someone who they were propping up as a hero during the pandemic, was actually directly responsible, not for mismanagement, but gross negligence in the death of thousands of those in the nursing homes. Take a listen to this one complaint roll.
I'm here today to bear witness on behalf of my mother, Luz Maria Rocha Maldonado, who would have celebrated her 82nd birthday today, but whose life was cut short due to a series of reckless public policy decisions. The COVID crisis in New York's nursing homes was a preventable crisis. It was fueled by poor public policy decisions, like the Department of Health's March 25th directive. In a cruel twist of fate, while healthy families like mine were locked out of nursing homes and forced to stay away from our loved ones, my mom was locked into a facility with COVID-positive patients released from a hospital. Worse yet, despite the governor's daily press briefings, families like mine were kept in the dark about this important policy change and actively misled by nursing home officials. It was only after my mom developed her first COVID symptoms that I confronted the director of nursing, and he finally admitted to me that, in quote, his words, he had been forced to admit COVID patients into the facility by the state, and that he could not guarantee that my mom had not been exposed to COVID. I was apoplectic.
He did not close the nursing homes during the start of the pandemic. The man literally, at the start of the pandemic, along with his two amigos, Governor Tom Wolf and Patrick Murphy of New Jersey and Pennsylvania, respectively. Well, Tom Wolf of Pennsylvania, Phil Murphy of New Jersey. And then I believe Governor Whitmer also of Michigan issued an executive order. So we have at least 4 Democratic governors who executed direct executive orders to force nursing homes to take COVID positive patients, not people who were living in that nursing home, got tested positive, went to the hospital, were cleared, tests come back negative, and then coming back to the nursing home. No, you heard it for yourself from the voice of one of the witnesses who heard it straight from the director of his mother's own nursing home, that they were forced to take COVID positive patients, not recovered patients, currently positive. So if there was an overflow at the hospital, they were forced by the executive order to take in those patients into the nursing home. Keep in mind, this is a virus that affects the elderly population more than any. Anyone can get sick, anyone can contract it, anyone can potentially have severe symptoms, but no one more directly affected than the elderly. In fact, the average age of death is anywhere between 77 to 82. And the elderly also make up the overwhelming majority of hospitalizations as well, capped in there with those who are obese. But I digress. You put this virus into the place where the most vulnerable were. He was directly responsible for that. And what's worse than potentially killing people like Janice Dean's in-laws, being directly responsible for putting the virus as a Trojan horse into those nursing home facilities. He tried to cover it up. He tried to cover it up by underreporting the numbers, and he got caught. And the numbers wound up being a lot worse than what was actually being reported. And here's a man who was trying to claim how he had one of the lowest he's on record for saying we have one of the lowest nursing home fatalities of COVID. I did this great job. When in reality, he was hiding over 50% of the actual numbers to try to hide his crime of what he did. At least the other governors, in their incompetence, at least put it all out there as far as we know. For instance, at one point during the height of the pandemic, like I said, Governor Tom Wolf of Pennsylvania, same executive order. And towards the end of the pandemic, or the height of it at the start of midway into 2020, over 88% of all of Pennsylvania's COVID deaths were in elderly and in nursing homes. Go fig, you forced them in there. New Jersey, over 56%. No duh, you put it in the nursing home. Governor Cuomo, on the other hand, was trying to sweep it under. Look, I'm under 40% COVID deaths in nursing homes. That's because you hid over half of the numbers. And despite that being proven, here's a man who still clung to power. And the crazy thing is that he's not being forced to resign for that. They're sweeping that under the rug like it never happened. He's getting brought down on sexual harassment, as if sexual harassment is a much worse crime than being directly responsible for the death of elderly citizens in your care. Again, not because of a law you didn't pass, as if governors have to be the hall monitors of their citizens and not allowing them the freedom to live and choose and assume what risk they want, unlike DeSantis and to some degree Governor Greg Abbott of Texas, but he caves. But I never thought that any of these politicians looked out for the people anyway. But no, Cuomo is directly responsible for, because of a law he passed. He put it in nursing home. He's not getting brought down for that. He's getting brought down by sexual harassment. And speaking of his brother Cuomo, I wonder if he's Chris Cuomo, Fredo. He was also brought up in this Attorney AG report, Attorney General's report, as being complicit in the sexual harassment cases and helping cultivate a culture of sexual harassment, especially being part of confidential information and running state business, having access to information he shouldn't have had, not having an official role in the governor cabinet and party and State Department. I wonder, again, a proud man, will he step down? Will CNN protect him like they did all of last year? A man who had no business interviewing his brother, and all the while this was happening and going on, he's making jokes about the size of his brother's nose, giant Q-tips. Oh, you haven't called mom. What's going on? Plus pieces. He should have no business getting that direct access from the New York governor. And yet here he was directly responsible, according to the Attorney General's report there in New York, as cultivating an environment of sexual harassment, permitting it to go on, and having unauthorized access to confidential and privileged state information. Will CNN sweep that under the rug? Will he be protected? Or is Cuomo Tonight, or whatever his dying show is called, remain on? In fact, he should be probably demoted back to the morning show. But we'll see what happens. We shall see what happens. But again, Governor Cuomo does not have a leg to stand on anymore. He's out of support. Again, I always say, believe facts and evidence, not people, not men, not women. You got to be consistent. He needs to stay in court for his actual guilt. But he's getting calls from people to resign from all over, including his own party, going all the way to the highest level. And I wonder, because again, these Cuomos are very proud people. I don't think they want this to be what their legacy is or how they're remembered. He'll probably fight it to the very end and finish out the rest of his term, his current fourth term. We shall see. That's the story. Let me know what you think. Again, let me know what you think in the comment section. Like this video, share this video, and please, again, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. This is Bruce the Boss, and I'm out. Peace.